Hello, Mordimer's here, and today we're gonna continue the story about Akiba Rubinstein. But let me do a short retrospection first to his childhood. He was born in 1882 and he had 11 siblings. Sadly, 10 of them didn't survive to the adulthood. They died before. And Akiba Rubinstein should be a rabbi. He studied to be a rabbi in Yiddish. And his family wanted him, that was like, some kind of to be proud to have rabbi in family. But suddenly when he was 18 years old, he decided to be a chess player. So yeah, that's, I'm gonna be a chess player. So like your family try to set you up as a doctor now or a lawyer, and you go to the best universities, and suddenly you say, I'm gonna be chess player. Okay, you can, but it's a bit odd. But okay. But that was really the beginning. And in 1902, after playing Bartoszkiewicz, he already was good at that time. He went to Łódź because he wanted to move to the place where there are a lot of chess players and a good chess players. So he heard about Gersz Salwe. He was, I think, one of the strongest players in Poland at that time, and then he went there. And he grew up in poverty. He looked very poor. He had the dark skin, and chess was reserved at that time for doctors, for lawyers, for some rich people who had the time and money, of course, to play this expensive hobby, because you have to do something for life. And if you want to play on chess on professional level, then that's not so easy. Even now is very difficult, even for some grandmasters. But at that time, that was really incredible decision. But he was focused on the chess so much. And at the beginning, he was losing all the games in the chess cafe. But after a couple of months, he used to the good place. And then there was idea to make a chess club and send one representative to Kiev tournament. There was the big Russian tournament held in Kiev in 1903. So Łódź wanted to send one player to go to a tournament, and it was very fierce match, which ended in a draw, and it was 7-7, and both of the players went to that Kiev at the end. We have 2 games recorded from that match with Salwe. And I was thinking if I want to show both of these games, because one is won by Rubinstein, but one is lost in Rubinstein. But I think it's gonna be interesting to show whole career, how the player which has less experience, but he's talented, can lose to more experienced player. So. That being said, let's talk about the opponent of Rubinstein, Mr. Gersz Salwe. He was born in 1862 in quite wealthy family, and believe me or not, during that game he was already 41 years old and never played in any tournament before. So Kiev was his first tournament, and also Rubinstein's first tournament, and he got the 4th place there, and Rubinstein 5th. And also later in 1906, in the biggest Russian tournament in St. Petersburg, he won that tournament, so he was quite strong. And in chess metrics give him the best ranking in 1910, when he was over 2600. But for this game in 1903, chess metrics don't cover, this period, so I have to estimate again. Of course, feel free to disagree in the comment section, but I estimate his strength and Rubinstein's strength, both of them, 2300. Okay, so warm welcome for both of the players, and let's see what happened on the board. Salwe opened with e4. We have c5, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3, knight f6, and d4. So it's all Sicilian on the board. C captures on d4, knight captures on d4, d6, and bishop on c4. What's interesting, the name of this attack is a Sozin attack, and Sozin was 7 years old at that time, so he probably did not play a Sozin attack, but he later, of course, he made a foundation for that, and so that's why it's called his name. But the system was well known much before. And in this position, the most popular continuations now would be e4, would be queen on b6, and also bishop d7 is possible. The many players like Kramnik, Anand from the top players still play that, but Rubinstein chose g6, and g6 it look like a starting dragon popular opening, but actually it's not really good move, because it lets white to start a quite powerful attack and get the better position. Salwe took on c6, pawn takes on c6, and here we have e5. So that's attacking on the knight. Knight should move somewhere, and even on end of the 20th century, some players still play that, but theory says only now about the knight to g4. Even engine shows like knight d7 is considered as a better, but the theory says like better to go on g4, and then it's indeed it's like a better gameplay after. Rubinstein played knight on d7. We have e captures on d6, e captures on d6, and we have a castle on white side. And here is the last chance to save that game by Rubinstein, and because it's already like very active for white, and there are some weaknesses in the black position. So feel free to pause the video and try to find the only continuation which still gives some maybe drawing chances to play that game. Okay, while I enjoy my cup of tea. Okay, so for those who would play bishop on g7, it's of course not playable because of the very strong attack, and then nothing can be done. It's also that that this attack is very, very strong, so that's not playable. This is why g6 is considered as a very imprecise move, because never g7, bishop g7 is difficult to play. If you find bishop on e7, then congratulations, you play as strong as Akiba Rubinstein when he was 20 years old. However, that is not enough, because this is actually losing continuation. That's mistake of Rubinstein. Instead, knight e5 could give some chances. After rook on e1, with the threat on f4, we could have bishop on e7 in next move. And then this bishop has to move because it's attacked, so bishop b3, and then at least Rubinstein could castle. And then after bishop f4, bishop c5, and queen d2, queen c7, the position is better for white. Material is equal, but black has hanging pawns on the D and C files, and white it's considered to have a better game, but at least could try to you know, draw that game and give some stance, some, you know, good defense. But bishop e7 was played in the game, and now we have bishop h6, and probably Rubinstein didn't feel good after that move. As you remember from the first game, he was the one who played bishop on h6 with Mr. Bartoszkiewicz. Yeah, but in this game happened knight b6, and then bishop b3 has to be played, of course, d5, cutting from that diagonal, because this bishop is quite powerful. And then we have rook e1, bishop e6, trying to make some, you know, obstacles on the e file, queen d2, bishop f6, taking that diagonal, rook a to d1, queen e7, and now we have quite strong move, because what's the problem? White want to, you know, make advantage of playing all their pieces. So this bishop is quite sad on b3. So white play knight on a4, and in this position, black, that was the last chance to have maybe bad game, maybe very hard game. But black, if they choose continuation of castling, this looks like suicide, yeah. But actually, it's the strongest move recommended by the engine. The attack is not so obvious. After queen a5, knight a4, and queen a4, we could have queen b7, and then let's say bishop e3 and rook d7 defending, and black could still try to play something. That is the situation is, of course, very, very difficult, but it could give some drawing chances maybe. But in this case, Rubinstein just, I don't know, play really knight d7, and knight d7 gives away control on this square, because this square was controlled a couple of times, and it's very important if we want to activate the bishop as a white. And yeah, knight d7, and then we have very powerful c4. Rubinstein tried to avoid the trade, opening all the lines, so we have d4, but then we have another move, c5, and now this bishop can start to play. And here Rubinstein get the pawn, but in the cost of like really strong attack. It's difficult to find anything to play. The engine recommends some things like g5 to try to find maybe cut this bishop or some other ways of playing, other plan, maybe rook b8, but it's really like not much to do. Rubinstein decided to open a bit more here, and after knight on c5, exchange the knights, take these knights on c5, and here is where the attacks happen. We have bishop on e6, f captures on e6, rook e6 with check, and king f7. We have, and now rook d on e1 was played. However, it's interesting that the engine shows there is a checkmate, forced checkmate in 12 moves, and it could be played. It's quite some calculation. So this sacrifice would be intuitive probably. Rook f6, king f6, queen f4, queen f5, and then queen d4, queen e5, and human probably would play some combination with this attack and win the queen, but the engine still shows bishop on g5, king f5, g4, and black has to decide, want to lose the queen and then, you know, struggle in the and then just, you know, resign, or just let or in this position just let to get checkmated on e6 this way. So that would be faster win, but Salwe play rook d on e1, so doubling the rooks, and of course nothing can go wrong on this. In this moment, it's already too advanced. So Rubinstein tried to bring rook to the game and somehow save, I don't know, hide the king or something. But we have, anyway, we have, you know, queen f4, we have queen f5, and then we have attack from the flank, queen c7, king g8, queen c6, and last try, as Rubinstein thought that, okay, this bishop is so annoying, try to eliminate him. Maybe I would survive this attack, but then Salwe still playing very good moves. Queen c4, and then, you know, it's now it's a double check and checkmate. That's a pretty strong threat. So bishop h6, but anyway, Salwe play double check, rook on e8. We have king g7, queen g8, king f6, rook d8, bishop d2, and Salwe just took on a8. And in this position, Rubinstein just resigned because there is nothing to do. It's one more move needed to make any threat, but the next move of white gonna be rook on f6, then take the queen, and then just win the game. So the game ended in this position, and yeah, that's this game shows that the Akiba Rubinstein, later in his career, he was a very big, very strong contributor to the theory of the openings. But here at the really beginning of his career, he still make some mistakes of this caliber, and he draw against Salwe in their match for, you know, getting to the only one spot for playing in the Kiev tournament. At the end, that was draw, and both of them went, of course, to Kiev. And yeah, so that's all for today. I would like to announce that, of course, as always, this game is available in the learning section in Lichess. You just go and study, or you just click the link in the description. And of course, if you like this video, please press the like button. And of course, if you don't like this video, press on like. And if you have any suggestion about this video or the channel, leave the comment. Feel free to throw the ideas, advices, anything what come to your mind. I read all comments, really appreciate all this support you give me. I also started to post my analysis on Twitch, so on Twitch, and then they are on Lichess, available on Lichess as well, so you can access that. Just you have to catch me on any of this platform. And yeah, that's being said, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.